What started out as a joke has turned out to be a disaster.
If he dies, he dies.
Karoline Leavitt is proving to be just as cruel as Ivan Drago, as this story of her sister-in-law getting swept up by ICE just keeps getting more unhinged. And now that sister-in-law is finally speaking out through her lawyer, and what she is saying makes Karoline Leavitt seem about as evil as she looks. That golden cross isn't fooling anyone, Beelzebub. Unfortunately, ICE is ramping up its kidnapping campaign, as the Trump administration seems hell-bent on inflicting as much pain as possible before this whole thing just falls apart, which one day it will. And on that day, we'll be celebrating here at Really American, so be sure to join us by subscribing and letting us know that you're here down in the comments. Now, to me, the most important piece of information that explains this situation is that the sister-in-law dumped Karoline's brother back like 10 years ago, called off an engagement and everything, and moved across the country. Apparently, they've been pretty cordial with each other, so I'm not saying that the Leavitt family pulled some strings to get her out of the picture, but her lawyer certainly is, since they've already been caught in multiple lies, including that the mother, Bruna here, was not in her child's life in any way, which is just downright ridiculous. Here's her lawyer soundly rejecting all of the claims coming from the Leavitt family.
Do you believe her arrest was entirely random?
No.
Tell me why.
Because she was surrounded by four unmarked vehicles, clearly from ICE. You know, she watches the news. She sees people with masks over their faces, and that's how Immigration and Customs Enforcement rolls these days. But what was strange about it is when they approached her, they asked her for her driver's license. So at first she was kind of like, why are you asking me for my driver's license? Doesn't appear to be a traffic stop. Then they asked her if she had her license. She said it was in her purse. Then they asked her if she was Bruna, and she said, why are you asking me that? And then they immediately arrested her. They took her to a police station in the Boston suburbs, then they took her to New Hampshire, then they took her to Vermont, and now she's sitting in Louisiana.
So you're raising questions about why she in particular, beyond her immigration status, was targeted for arrest.
Yeah, the arrest violates the Constitution. We see this daily with this administration. As people are approached, they're asking, show me your papers. I'll show you the Fifth Amendment. We have a right to remain silent on U.S. soil regardless of our status. Yet she appears to have been targeted. She was surrounded. This is a person who owns two businesses. She has an 11-year-old son. Yes, she had a relationship with Karoline Leavitt's brother, and it didn't work out. They were engaged for a while. They had a child together. They thought they were going to get married. She has no problems with the Leavitt family. She literally picked Karoline to be the godmother of Michael Jr. Over her own sister.
Now, Bruna's case specifically is a great example of how the Democrats' weak action over the last 20 years on immigration has only made it easier for these situations to happen. Here's reporting by CNN on the situation. It's also provoked debate over her background. The administration has described her as a criminal illegal alien who had been arrested for battery, but her lawyers say she has no criminal record and previously had protection from deportation as part of the Obama-era Deferred Action for Childhood Arrivals program, or DACA. DACA, the Dreamer program, for all the relief that it gave people, is not a path to citizenship. And while people have been juggling between program and special consideration and temporary protections, what that means is the Trump administration was just handed a convoluted rat's nest of immigration policy, which made it all the easier to just set the whole thing on fire. And folks, things are very much on fire. The dream that made America great in the first place, that anybody could come here and become successful, has been taken behind the barn and shot like Kristi Noem's dog. Here's the headline from the Boston Globe. I'm losing everything. Babson College freshman speaks out about her deportation to Honduras ahead of Thanksgiving. Annie Lucia Lopez Beloza had received a scholarship to study in Massachusetts and dreamed of opening a tailor shop with her dad. But when immigration agents detained her at Logan Airport, everything changed. This college student, who has been here, by the way, since she was 7 years old, is another DACA recipient who was disappeared randomly while in the legal process of receiving her green card. but because of an old deportation order from 2017 that she didn't even know existed, she was scooped up at an airport while traveling for Thanksgiving and just deported 3 days later with no due process at all. And it's not like these monsters are trying to hide their intentions. Here's the disgraced Border Patrol commander Greg Bavino, nature's answer to what if a fart had arms and legs. He's straight up admitting here that they're targeting college students for taking up a white American spot. He says illegal aliens are just that, despite age and education status. Why even mention this illegal alien was an 18-year-old college student? Completely irrelevant, except that an illegal alien may have taken a university slot from an American citizen. It's absolutely disgusting how mask-off these people are being now. Historically, smart foreigners who come here for an education and then become Americans is how we made it to the top to begin with. So much for making America great again, am I right? Now, surprisingly, this college student Annie and Karoline Leavitt's ex-sister-in-law Bruna, they have the same lawyer, and he is sounding the alarm that both of these detentions are incredibly wrong, and in the case of Bruna, Leavitt's scorned relative, it's obvious that something more is afoot.
But I want to begin with how Annie and Karoline are doing, and if you can spell out for us the connections you may see between their cases.
Yeah, I would describe this as an immigration imbroglio, and that's exactly what it is. Representative Garcia was just on. I heard some of his, some of what he said before about immigration reform. The last true immigration reform we've had in this country was Ronald Reagan, from where the Trump administration, stole the slogan, "Make America Great Again." And what we have right now is a total trampling of rights. Take Annie, for example. We call it Annie's dream. It turned into a nightmare. She found out last Monday when we called her that she had a lawyer. She had no idea she had an attorney, despite us suing Friday night in Boston federal court to prevent her rogue deportation from the United States. She's from Honduras. She's been here since the age of 7. And like many other people, they're calling her an illegal alien. Bovino's claiming she's taking a college seat away from an American. I guess that's the whitewashing of America we're dealing with these days. It's disgusting. But her case inspired us to make a movement. We started a nonprofit. It's called Mass Deportation Defense. It's the antithesis to mass deportation now, because we need to stand up to this. We can't just roll over and play dead to this rogue administration. Due process has to mean something, and if you have due process for some, you have due process for none.
Is there any reason to believe that the White House or Karoline Leavitt herself may have been involved, may have led to her detention?
I mean, all I know is their family knew that her green card interview was coming to its conclusion soon, and now she's sitting in Louisiana in a for-profit prison. So a person who owns 2 businesses is taken away from her child during the holiday season. She's sitting in jail for not committing a crime, for not doing anything wrong. She's merely awaiting her turn like tens of thousands of other people. And I just hope her story sheds light on these atrocities, because it's not just her. I mean, it shouldn't even matter who you're related to or might have been related to. You should get equal justice under the law. She's being deprived of that right now, sitting in a prison cell down south, thousands of miles away from her lawyers, away from her family. She said one of the women in there gave a miscarriage. Another woman's trying to kill herself.
Just before we go,
in there with her.
Before we go, I want to ask something. There has been some reporting that Karoline Leavitt's brother, again, the ex of your client, has told her to just self-deport, to voluntarily leave the country at this point. Can you confirm that that is the case? What would that mean for her ability to come back, and what would that mean for her ability to continue co-parenting her son with Karoline Leavitt's brother? She'd have to co-parent her son by Zoom or WebEx. Makes no sense at all. She self-deports. She's barred for 10 years from re-entering the country. She really have no pathway from coming back here. And she's merely in line waiting for her green card. She's waiting for an interview. It's taken way too long for her to have her day in court, but she's going to get it. We assure you that.
The Trump administration clearly has no intention of stopping these illegal deportations, and because they can't find enough criminals, they're simply waiting outside of hearings and illegally scooping people up as they are working through their legal process, oftentimes regardless of if these people have any suspensions to their orders of removal, or if they're simply waiting for their legal status to go through the broken and inefficient system, like with Annie and Bruna. They're just scooping up and deporting whoever they can get their hands on. So if you want to stay up to date on what these monsters are doing, then be sure to subscribe to us here at Really American, but also check out our rapidly growing Substack below, where you can read all of the details that MAGA doesn't want you to know. I'm Tony Hinderman, and I'll catch you next time.